I never imagined that a simple internship at a high-powered marketing firm would upend my entire world, but there I was, fresh out of college, wide-eyed and ambitious, stepping into the sleek glass offices of Apex Creative. My boss, Elena Vasquez, was the epitome of success, sharp suits hugging her athletic frame, dark hair cascading in effortless waves, and eyes like polished obsidian that could command a room with a single glance. She was in her mid-30s, a decade ahead of me, but her presence made the age gap feel like a chasm of experience I yearned to bridge. From day one, she took me under her wing, assigning me to her personal projects, late-night brainstorming sessions that stretched into the wee hours. I'd catch her watching me across the conference table, her lips curving into a knowing smile as I pitched ideas, my voice steady despite the butterflies rioting in my stomach. It started innocently enough, compliments on my work ethic, a hand lingering a beat too long on my shoulder during feedback. But soon, those touches ignited something deeper, a spark that made my skin tingle and my thoughts wander to places they shouldn't. Elena was married, or so the office rumors went, to some faceless executive who traveled endlessly, leaving her to rule this empire alone. I told myself it was just admiration, professional respect, but deep down, I knew it was more. One evening, as rain lashed against the floor-to-ceiling windows, she poured us glasses of scotch from her private bar and said, "You have fire, Mia. Don't let this industry dim it." Her voice was low, intimate, and when our fingers brushed, electricity shot through me. That night, I went home and dreamed of her, not as my boss, but as the woman who could unravel me completely. The tension built like a storm over the next few weeks, subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. Elena began inviting me to exclusive client dinners, her hand occasionally grazing my thigh under the tablecloth, disguised as accidental. I'd flush, stammer through conversations, while she dazzled everyone with her charisma, her laughter a siren call that drowned out the clink of silverware. Back at the office, she'd call me into her corner suite for strategy sessions, the door clicking shut behind us, sealing us in a cocoon of leather furniture and the faint scent of her jasmine perfume. She'd lean over my shoulder to review reports, her breath warm against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. "See how that flows," she'd murmur, her lips so close I could almost taste them. I started dressing differently, silk blouses that hugged my curves, skirts that whispered against my legs, knowing her eyes would linger. And they did. One afternoon, during a heated debate over a campaign pitch, she pinned me against her desk with her gaze alone, her voice dropping to a husky whisper, "You're challenging me, Mia." I like that. My heart hammered as I met her stare, defiance mixing with desire. That evening, she texted me, "Drinks after work. My place. We need to unwind." My fingers trembled over the keyboard as I typed yes, the word feeling like a surrender. Her apartment was a penthouse dream, city lights sprawling below like a sea of stars, modern art on the walls, a bottle of wine already breathing on the marble counter. We talked for hours, the alcohol loosening our tongues, until she brushed a stray lock of hair from my face and said, "You've been driving me crazy since day one." Time stopped, the air thick with unspoken promises. The kiss happened like a dam breaking, sudden, inevitable, and utterly consuming. Elena's hand cupped my cheek, her thumb tracing my jawline as she closed the distance, her lips soft yet demanding against mine. I melted into her, tasting wine and want, my body arching. Instinctively as her fingers tangled in my hair. It was nothing like the fumbling kisses of my past boyfriends, this was fire, a slow burn that ignited every nerve. She pulled back just enough to search my eyes, her breath ragged. "Tell me to stop, Mia," she whispered, but my hands were already clutching her blouse, pulling her closer. We tumbled onto her plush sectional, clothes shedding like inhibitions, my shirt unbuttoned with deliberate slowness, her blazer tossed aside to reveal the lace beneath. Her mouth trailed down my neck, nipping at my collarbone, while her hands explored the dips and curves she'd only imagined. I gasped as she kissed the swell of my breasts, her tongue teasing through the fabric, building an ache that pooled low in my belly. "God, you're beautiful," she breathed, her voice reverent, and for the first time, I felt seen, not as the intern, but as a woman worthy of worship. The city hummed outside, oblivious, as we lost ourselves in each other, her thigh pressing between mine, creating friction that made me moan her name. It was messy, passionate, a collision of pent-up longing that left us breathless and tangled. Afterward, lying in her arms, her fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin, reality crept in. "This changes everything," I murmured, and she silenced me with another kiss, promising, "It doesn't have to be complicated. Just us." But complications were inevitable, woven into the fabric of our worlds. The next morning, sunlight filtered through her blackout curtains, casting a golden glow on our naked forms. Elena made coffee in nothing but an oversized shirt, her legs endless and toned, and I watched from the bed, memorizing the sway of her hips. We stole moments at work, stolen glances in meetings, her foot nudging mine under the table, texts that vibrated with innuendo during conference calls. Yet, the whispers started, colleagues noticing how often I was summoned to her office, the way her door stayed closed a little too long. Paranoia set in. I caught myself scanning for signs of her wife in framed photos, wondering about the ring she never wore at work. Elena dismissed my concerns with a wave, pulling me into supply closets for heated make-out sessions that left lipstick smears and racing pulses. "We're adults," she'd say, her hands sliding under my skirt, fingers deft and knowing. And God, she knew me, mapping my body like a territory she claimed, bringing me to edges I'd never reached. One night, after a grueling deadline, she took me to a hidden jazz club, our bodies pressed close in the dim light, her lips brushing my ear as she whispered fantasies that made my knees weak. We danced until closing, then back to her place, where she blindfolded me